Have you ever heard of the Khazarian?
Yes.
Okay, and the theory is that Ashkenazi people are from that group, and do you know anything about it? And what do you think?
I don't really know a lot about it.
Anything about it? And what do you think?
I don't really know a lot about it, only from a TV show, which was Avi Peter's show. I just look
It was a comedy. They were making fun of it, right?
Fun of it, fun of him. It was. I was looking at it in Wikipedia, but I didn't really find something useful.
Okay.
I don't have a specific.
Well, the theory is that they're a group that came from Russia and Turkey, and that Ashkenazi Jews came from them, and therefore Ashkenazi Jews don't actually come from here.
Oh no, I don't think that's. I don't know that theory, but maybe it's my ignorance. I'm not sure, but Ashkenazi refers to every Jew who is from the east of Europe, Eastern Europe. So it's not specifically from Russia. Most of the Jews came from Spain. This is what I know, and some of them are Ashkenazi as well. I don't know if it answers your question.
Have you heard of the group called in Hebrew, Khazarian?
Khazarian, yeah. I don't know so much about it, but I heard it's like another part in Russian or something like that.
It's a group of Russians and Turkish people who converted to Judaism 1,000 years ago, and they. The theory is, according to some people, that they are Ashkenazi Jews of today, and so Ashkenazi Jews don't have any right to this place.
I don't know so much about it, so I cannot tell you anything.
Yes.
Have you heard of the Khazarian?
Yeah, that's us. That's me, actually.
Okay, so what is your... this is a question that comes from outside of Israel. What is your opinion about the theory that Ashkenazim came from Khazarian?
It seems relevant. It's quite obvious that white Jewish people, Ashkenazim from Europe, are not genetically, as much as I can tell, I'm not an expert, but they don't look the same like Arab Jews, people that came from Arab countries, and Ethiopians. I don't think there's a lot of, there may be some genetic relations, but there's a lot of genetic differences, and any theory that says that we're not genetically come from the same ancestors makes sense to me. On the other hand, it doesn't make any difference to me because I don't really care where do I come from. The main problem, the main issue for me is where are we going? And when I say we, it's the workers.
Okay, yeah, that's a socialist.
Yeah.
Understood. No, because this
Besides
question came. Well, you can link it to politics. It's okay. But the question actually was about because in the Muslim Arab world, they say if Ashkenazi Jews are really came from the Khazars, Khazarian, if they came from that, and because they believe that all Israelis are Ashkenazi Jews, does that mean that none of us should be here?
Well, it doesn't mean for me. People are here. I was born here. I have nowhere else to go. I think people that are here have the right to be here. Principally, I support any person's right to live anywhere he wants. Palestinians were not here always. Jews were not always here. No one was always here. And every people have the right to live peacefully, and it is possible to live harmoniously together. But there are certain forces, certain interests that are against it, and we have to fight them together. Jews, Arabs, whatever. We can all live together. There's not. It's a conflict. It's a real conflict, but it can be solved on the basis of workers' power and negotiation and dialogue. I think I really it's for right-wing Islam and a lot of Palestinians. They have to understand that I have nowhere to go. I have no other citizenship. No one would take me. I don't think, on the other hand, that Palestinians have to pay the price for Holocaust. It's not their fault. They did not do it, and they should not pay the price. And settlements are a crime, as opposed to what Sheli Yachimovich says. Settlements are a crime, and especially the ones inside Hebron, the ones that are ideologically there and are straightforward. They're very obvious about what they want to do. They want to deprive the Palestinians from their rights to peace and prosperity, and we have to fight this. We have to fight the occupation.
Have you ever heard of the what do you say it again? Khazarian.
Yeah,
Okay, so you've heard of that group?
yeah. They've been converted to, the king converted to Judaism.
That's right. So the question is, do you think that Ashkenazi Jews come from the Khazarian?
Some of them, but it doesn't matter because everybody nowadays is a mixture of many races and ethnic groups. None, like the real Judaism, the real sons of Israel are very far back in history, so everybody got a different bloodline.
Okay. So you don't think it impacts or has any effect on the fact that we live here? Meaning if you came from the Khazarian, you weren't technically from this Jewish line. You don't think it means anything?
I don't really think it should be like one day the world can be more global for everybody. But nowadays what do you mean, like the rule of, how do it called, Chok HaShavut?
No, I'm actually, because people in the Muslim world, they talk about this, that if Ashkenazi Jews come from the Khazarian, so they're not actually related to the original Jews who were here, therefore they have no right to this
But
land.
I guess that after they came in touch with other Jewish person, it all been mixed, and there's no 100% Khazarian Jew or whatever. Also, it's more of a spiritual thing. It's not only a blood. Like Judaism is not a race. Like in Germany, the Nazis wanted us to think. Like Judaism is it's a religion. It's a nation, a way of life. More of it. So it doesn't really matter. And actually, I don't know who are the real Jewish, like from the biblical days. Maybe they were looking very different. Actually in the Mediterranean area, I guess they were black. Probably. very modern.
But do you think you're related to them as a Jew?
Yeah, I think my mother was born in Iraq, so she's in from Babylon, which was like I think the most old Jewish communities are in Ethiopia, Yemen, and I guess also the Iraqi Jewish. They are originally ethnically related to the real Jewish. And ironically, they getting here aflaya, like
Discrimination.
discriminated. Yeah. But they are the real Jewish.
But okay, have you ever heard of the theory of the Khuzarim, the Khazars? Yeah.
She knows about it.
Okay. Sorry, what? You've heard of it? Sorry, I have to go like this.
Sorry.
Okay. The theory is that there was a group, a kingdom 1,000 years ago, that converted to Judaism in Turkey, Russia, somewhere around there, and that they are the Ashkenazim of today are those people, which means that the Ashkenazi Jews never came from here. That's the idea. So have you ever heard of it, and what do you think?
I never heard of it, but it's true. The Ashkenazi Jews didn't come from Israel.
Okay. So where did the Ashkenazi Jews come from?
From East Europe.
But Ashkenazi Jews feel that they came from here before, no?
The ancestors. But,
Or do you personally not agree? שמעת פעם על התיאוריה של Khazars, שזה שבט של טורקים ברוסיה, חזקסטן, שהם השורשים של האשכנזים. There is a theory that Ashkenazi Jews come from a group called the Khazars, who are a Turkic people who lived in like Russia, northern Turkey. And that's Ashkenazi Jews are actually not related to the Middle East, they're related to Turkish people. Have you ever heard this?
No, never heard of that.
Okay.
I mean, obviously, if you look at the kind of whole theory that Jewish people are a race, so on one hand, I guess you can kind of, there is some like genetic similarities between like all Jews, like there's kind of Jewish genes and there's Jewish maybe like diseases which are some like genetic similarities between like all Jews, like there's kind of Jewish genes and there's Jewish maybe like diseases which are like inherited. But on the other hand, if you look at the physical appearance, which is like so varied in Israelis, then the whole argument that like Jews are a kind of insular race which never kind of mixed with other people, it doesn't really hold up. So I guess whoever was in Europe just had
a good time.
Had a good time with other people in Europe, and the rest goes for other countries. So everybody's mixed anyways, so it doesn't really matter, I guess.
Have you ever heard of the theory of the Khazars? That the Khazars were a group who converted to Judaism about 1,000 years ago in what's today part of Russia and Kazakhstan. And the theory was, although there's no scientific proof, that they are the Ashkenazi Jews of today. Have you ever heard of this?
Not really.
Okay. Have you ever heard of the theory of the Khuzarim?
Khazarim?
Yeah.
No.
Okay, you never heard of it?
No.
Okay, they were a group of Turkish or Russian, it was a kingdom that they converted to Judaism.
All right.
You ever heard of it?
No, I never, but you can...
Okay. Well, the idea was that they converted to Judaism, and there's a theory by some people that the Ashkenazim of today are those people.
All right.
So there's no, basically there's no connection between Ashkenazim and this land.
there is no connection?
Yeah, according to the people who believe the theory.
All right. I don't think it's true.
Okay.
I think all of us Israelis that come from all over the world, they came from our land fathers that lives here in the Bible, Bible period, and after the Gola and
The expulsion.
so. I don't think there is a lot of everybody wants to be Jewish. I think we are the I would say the Am HaNivchar,
The chosen people?
Chosen people.
Okay. What does that mean, the chosen people?
That we need to lead all the worlds, all the people in the world, entire world, to be a good people and to have a good life.
Okay.
This is why God chose us.
Okay. Does the chosen people mean that Jews are better, or?
I don't think we're better. I think we need to lead the other nations to be a good people
And are we doing that?
And create a better world. I don't know if this is a theory. I believe in God, but I'm Jewish, so I love being Jewish.
שמעת על הקבוצות או התיאוריה של הקזרים, שזה הקבוצות של טורקים שגרו בחלק מרוסיה או אירופה, שהם התגיירו להיות יהודים, והתיאוריה שהאשכנזים של היום זה הם, זה לא היהודים המקוריים של הארץ הזאת. שמעת על התיאוריה הזאת?
שמעתי על התיאוריה הזאת, תזכירי את השם?
קייזר, קייזרס באנגלית.
אז היא אומרת בעצם שהיהודים שכאן הם כאילו לא יהודים האמיתיים.
זה מה שהרבה בעולם המוסלמי והערבי, זה מה שהם אומרים.
אבל זה לא...
תיאוריה שלהם?
זה לא הגיוני.
למה?
לא, זה לא הגיוני, כי היהדות באה מכל רחבי אירופה, יהדות ספרד, יהדות מצרים, המשפחה שלי גם. אני השילוב האולטימטיבי של מזרח תיכון חדש, יש שורשים גם מרוסיה, גם מהקפקז, גם מטורקיה, והחצי השני זה פולנים שעברו למצרים, היו יהדות במצרים גם, וכולם השתלבו כאן. והיו יהודים בכל רחבי אירופה. וגם, בכלל, כל הסיפור של גירוש ספרד, שהם הגיעו מספרד לאימפריה העות'מאנית, לטורקיה. אז השורשים היו בכל עובר, התיאוריה הזאת היא לא משתלבת עם המציאות.
אוקיי, אבל בקשר לאשכנזים עצמם, מה אתה חושב על התיאוריה? אתה חושב שזה הגיוני, שזה יכול להיות, ואם זה מאיים על הקשרים שלנו, של הארץ הזאת?
אני חושב שגם אם היו יש איזו קבוצה אתנית שרואה את עצמה כיהודים אמיתיים, אבל אי אפשר להכליל את זה, כלומר היו קבוצות מאוד מגובשות בכל רחבי אירופה שראו את עצמם כיהודים עם זיקה למולדת ומסורת ארוכה שנים, כמו אפילו כל הישיבות האלה בפולין או בליטא, שזה אלפי שנים. אז אי אפשר לנתק את הקשר הזה, כי זה הכל רשום, מתועד ומסורת של משפחות של שנים. אז התיאוריה הזאת לא נכונה פשוט.
What are the facts? The Jews, I call them Jews to you because they're known as Jews. I don't call them Jews. I refer to them as so-called Jews because I know what they are. Now what happened? The Eastern European Jews, who form 92% of the world's population of those people who call themselves Jews, were originally Khazars. They were a warlike tribe that lived deep in the heart of Asia. And they were so warlike that even the Asiatics drove them out of Asia into Eastern Europe. And To reduce this so you don't get too confused about the history of Eastern Europe, they set up this big Khazar kingdom, 800,000 square miles. Only there was no Russia, there were no other countries, and the Khazar kingdom was the biggest country in all Europe. So big and so powerful that when the other monarchs wanted to go to war, the Khazars would loan them 40,000 soldiers. That's how big and powerful they were. Now, they were phallic worshippers, which is filthy. I don't want to go into the details of that now. It was their religion, the way it was the religion of many other pagans or barbarians elsewhere in the world. Now, the king became so disgusted with the degeneracy of his kingdom that he decided to adopt a so-called monotheistic faith, either Christianity, Islam, the Muslim faith, or what is known today as Judaism, really Talmudism. So, like spinning a top, he said, eeny, meeny, miny, mo, and he picked out so-called Judaism. And that became the state religion, and he sent down to the Talmudic schools of Tel Aviv and Surah, and brought up thousands of these rabbis with their teachings, and he opened up synagogues and schools in his kingdom of 800,000 people, 800,000 square miles, and maybe 10 to 20 million people, and they became what we call Jews. There wasn't one of them that ever had an ancestor that ever put a toe in the Holy Land, not alone in Old Testament history, but back to time, the beginning of time. Not one of them. And yet they come to the Christians and they ask us to support their armed insurrection in Palestine by saying, well, you want to certainly help repatriate God's chosen people to their promised land, their ancestral homeland. We gave you one of our boys as your Lord and Savior. You now go to church on Sunday and kneel, and you worship a Jew, and we are Jews. Well, they were pagan Khazars who were converted just the same as the Irish. And it's just as ridiculous to call them people of the Holy Land as it would be. There are 54 million Chinese Muslims. 54 million. And Muhammad only died in 620 A.D., so in that time, 54 million Chinese have accepted Islam as their religious belief. Now imagine in China, 2,000 miles away from Arabia, where the city of Mecca is located, where Muhammad was born, imagine if the 54 million Chinese called themselves Arabs. Imagine. Why, you'd say they're lunatics. Any man that believes that those 54 million Chinese are Arabs must be crazy. All they did was adopt as a religious faith a belief that had its origin in Mecca, in Arabia. The same as the Irish. When the Irish became Christians, nobody dumped them in the ocean and imported from the Holy Land a new crop of inhabitants that were Christians, that had Christian flesh and blood. They weren't different people. They were the same people, but they had accepted Christianity as their religious faith. Now these pagans, these Asiatics, these Turco-Finns, they were a Mongoloid race who were forced out of Asia into Eastern Europe. They likewise, because their king took the faith, this Talmudic faith, they had no choice. Just the same as in Spain. If the king was Catholic, everybody had to be a Catholic. If not, you had to get out of Spain. So everybody, they lived on the land just like the trees in the bushes. A human being belonged to the land under their feudal system. So they all became what we call today Jews. Now imagine how silly it was for the Christians, for the great Christian countries of the world to say, we are going to use our power, our prestige to help repatriate God's chosen people to their ancestral homeland, their promised land. Now, could there be a bigger lie than that? Could there be a bigger lie than that? And because they control the newspapers, the magazines, the radio, the television, the book publishing business, they have the ministers in the pulpits, they have the politicians on the soapboxes talking the same language, so naturally you'd believe black is white if you heard it often enough. You wouldn't call black black anymore, you'd start to call black white, and nobody could blame you. Now, that is one of the great lies, that is the foundation of all the misery that has befallen the world.